So this is Christina, an American citizen who came to Russia. How long ago did you come to Russia?
I came on the 28th of December and stayed until March 4th, the first time ever.
And you came back.
I came back.
What made you come back to Russia?
The whole time I was in America, all I could think about was coming back to Russia. You couldn't stop me.
What was it about Russia that you were thinking about?
Well, for one, I loved it very much, even in the middle of winter when it was really frozen. And I could not imagine what it's like when it's actually warm outside and the sun's shining and the flowers are blooming. I've heard some really amazing things from people who have come to Russia. I've never met anybody who came to Russia that actually didn't like it.
I've not met anybody either that didn't like Russia. Now that winter's over and spring is here, do you prefer winter or spring?
Definitely spring.
Okay.
Definitely.
And if you had to make a comparison between the United States of America and the Russian Federation, what would that be?
Interesting question, because somebody asked me that just the other day, and without even thinking about it, I told them that right now, as things are, and I love my country, so I'm going to preface that, America's a lot like a pile of poop covered in golden glitter. It looks really good to people on the outside. It looks like it's fantastic and shiny, but it's not right now at all. And then Russia is a lot like gold covered in dirt. And
would you say that the dirt is just essentially propaganda from the West?
Propaganda from the West, and then at the same time, they're really, improving a lot from the days of the 90s, and things are improving. But, there's things that are, I don't know how to explain it. There is poverty here and things like that, but there's
But
real
not
gold.
Like America or like America?
It's about the spiritual state, I think.
Right.
I really feel like at the core, there's real gold here. And right now, America is just kind of going down the tank, and it really is kind of like a pile of poo, unfortunately. And, that reminds me of a story in the Bible. Jesus was talking about the kingdom of heaven is like a man who discovers a treasure in a field, and he covers up the treasure, he goes home, and he sells everything, and he buys the field. And, the thing that I think about is if the previous owner had realized that there was a treasure in that field, would he have sold it? And I think that a lot of Russians, they dream about going to America, and they don't understand. At the surface level, yeah, it looks shiny, like a shiny object, and it's very attractive. But if you spend some real time there, it's definitely not what you would expect. And they want to leave Russia, and they don't realize what they have here.
What do you think motivates Russians to go to America? Do you think it's Hollywood, or do you think it's something different?
I think Hollywood makes America look very shiny and very fantastic. Of course, the media makes everything look awesome. Everything is awesome, but it's not. I mean, everything is so expensive. Taxes are very high. It's very difficult to survive there with regards to the cost of living. People get very indebted very quickly in America, and they just never get out of it. And then on top of it, people are fighting and arguing all the time, And I noticed here that I can be in a group of people and they have extremely opposing views,
Right.
and they're still best friends.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
On multiple occasions. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of friends that I thought were great friends in America, but then you get on this one issue and they are like no longer, they hate you.
Right. It's like
so
a child
easy.
throwing a temper tantrum. If you don't do what they want, they're not going to be your friend anymore.
Yeah, it's
Just in a more adult version.
it seems like everything is more superficial
Right.
in America. Even, I hate to say it, a lot of churches, they're
Yes.
superficial. When you get down to it, like real faith, there are real faithful people, but it's a lot of flash and not a lot of heart, unfortunately.
Now, when it comes to your faith, what would you describe yourself as? Are you a Protestant, a Catholic, or an Orthodox?
Well, I got baptized a week ago into the Orthodox Church.
Into the Russian Orthodox Church.
Yes.
And how did that? Tell me about that experience.
I was supposed to leave Russia last Saturday, And as the days were progressing towards Saturday, I was really just torn apart, and I didn't want to leave Russia without being baptized in the Orthodox Church specifically. And so I woke up at like 3 a.m. It was like God saying, "Wake up, sleepyhead," and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I sat in front of the church until they opened in the morning and was just crying and praying. And the priest agreed to baptize me. I was really excited about it, and I have a little video of it, but there was a funny thing that happened when they had the basin and they told me to put my head in the basin. I didn't quite understand. The water was all the way at the bottom, and I thought, how am I going to get my head all the way down there? And I turned myself like upside down and dunked my head in there. And they were like, no. And then they said to do that again, like put my head in the basin again. I did it a second time before I realized they just wanted me to put my head over the basin to pour the water over my head. And I got baptized in St. George the Victorious Church, surrounded by military saints.
And you're a veteran.
I'm a veteran.
And what branch of the military?
I was in the Army as a medic.
A medic.
Yeah, it really was special to me to get baptized there, surrounded by, the military saints, and also inside the church they have all the names of the people from that oblast and that region that died in World War II, and there's so many names. And it was just very touching, and I feel like that's the way it was supposed to be all along. And
God's plan.
Yes, God's plan. I couldn't leave on Saturday. I'm still here. And then I went to church service on Sunday morning. Oh, wow. That was so amazing. I heard the bells. We walked around the church. The priests really love their job when they get to like splash us in the face with the holy water. It was fantastic. Had a nice meal with them, and the women said, "Will you be back on Sunday?" Konyeshna, of course.
Do you think if America had a revival, let's say the Orthodox Church, it doesn't matter, Armenian, Syrian, Russian, Greek, sent priests to America, fathers to America, and planted churches there, do you think that there could be revival, and do you think that America would benefit from revival?
I definitely think America could benefit from revival. I think that we could benefit from each other a lot. So I've had some discussions with other Orthodox believers, and we were talking about, now that I can speak Russian, I'm starting to talk about my faith a lot more. And they had told me that they were raised that you don't talk about your faith here. That's something you really keep to yourself. Unless somebody asks you, you don't talk about it. And one of the gifts of the Spirit is evangelism.
Right.
And on the reverse side, in America, you've got a lot of people that are evangelists that are talking when God didn't tell them to talk. And it really, it turns people away, especially when you've got a lot of false prophets and stuff. But if we can find that middle ground and learn from each other, because as I was discussing with my friends, I think that this belief in the Orthodox Church that you shouldn't talk about your faith is a yoke from the atheistic communist days, where if you talked about your faith, you could lose your life, you could be martyred. And one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit is evangelism. And so I asked, is evangelism something that the Orthodox Church does? And the response that I got is, evangelism is there, but it needs to be developed.
Right.
So
there are Russian Orthodox evangelists. There are. And during the days of the Tsar, evangelism was a major thing. Russians would actually go on pilgrimage, kind of, I'd say like the American version of like the 1970s when everybody would go see Billy Graham. Mm-hmm. It was like that. Before
he came to Russia.
Yeah, he did, yes. A lot of Russians have a lot of respect for him. Well, thank you for talking to me today. I really appreciate it. It was good to see you again. How long are you going to stay in Russia?
I don't have an end date at this point. I am so happy to be here.
Do you want to stay here forever?
I think so, yeah. I have people asking me when I'm leaving, and I told them, since I got baptized, I want to take at least 40 days to pray about
40
it. I'm
days,
not going to
yeah.
make any decisions. I really just want to, dig in to Orthodoxy and continue to pray about it. And I'm really hoping that my family, that they'll make the trip over here soon.
Let's hope so. Thank you again.
You're welcome.